Right, welcome to the next edition of 300 Seconds from Cannes. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Simon Francis, who's the CEO and founder of Flock. Welcome, Simon.
Thank you very much. Lovely to be here.
Yeah, how has your Cannes been so far?
Hectic,
Yeah.
mental, confusing, all of the normal.
And hot, I can imagine.
Warm, but probably, thankfully less hot than the UK.
That is true. That is true. Well, thank you for joining us today. At Flock, you guys see agencies and clients all the time, in the heat of the pitch room. Where do you see, when growth slows at an agency, where do you commonly see the underlying issues? Is it capabilities? Is it structure? Is it people?
I think there's a lot comes from sort of culture and leadership.
Right.
I think it's there's been so much change, internal and external within sort of companies, that it's the time when the leadership has to be very, very clear and visionary and build a culture of driving growth.
Yeah.
Not leaving it with a new business person or one account director and hoping that organic comes. Takes a village.
Yeah.
And everyone needs to be a rapacious velociraptor for looking after clients.
Yeah.
Finding ways to help them, and as a result of helping them, making money. It's not pitching to them, trying to sell them additional services. We're using that dreaded word, extraction rate.
Yes, that should never be used in front of a client.
Probably not.
No. When an agency turns up in a pitch room, how long do you think it takes before you know whether it's going to be a good pitch?
Honestly, I don't think it's about the pitch. I think quite often it's about beforehand, the reputation, the connections, working with them in previous lives. There's normally an expectation before the client enters the room. But I would also say is the ability to adjust and listen and work through a pitch, whether it's with a consultant or with the client directly, can change things. There's numerous pitches where the chemistry meeting maybe, or even the Q&A session, someone scores like a 3 out of 10. It comes back to win.
Wow.
Throughout. So it's never over until it's over. Listen really hard. Have those softer skills of really reading the room and being unafraid to whack an account director or planner who didn't well, or put them on the stage if they have to. It's not just in the pitch. It's the team and the whole process where you have to be super, super attentive to what the client needs, or even sometimes what they think they need. Right?
Yeah. It's interesting what you say. We work with agencies who often see a pitch as a set of meetings rather than a continuous journey with moments in time that they have to show up brilliantly across all of them.
Yeah. I don't think many people, they're so focused on writing the PowerPoint and getting in the room, and they never take the time to sit back afterwards and go, well, what went well, what didn't work well, what have we got to emphasize, what have we got to do? How are we going to react to this? So we've got at Flock, we use it when we're pitching for business. It's reassuring I'm sure for people to know. So we have to do as many pitches as you, if not more. So we have an AI agent. It's called the Sales Shaper that listens in on the calls, critiques the meetings, says, Simon, you were talking too much, whatever it might
be.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure it's never said that to you.
It certainly has. And it sort of helps give us ideas for how we should address and pick up things afterwards.
Yeah. Talk about AI, agencies and clients have more access to data technology than they've ever done before. How do you think they should truly be using it to drive commercial effects for brands?
Listen, first of all, people have to stand in front of tech and data and not behind it.
Yeah.
The second thing, you have to be crystal clear on the why.
Yeah.
So if the client wants growth or they want efficiencies of stuff, well, what are you going to deploy against that gain, as opposed to almost incidental, whatever the client problem is, here's my social graph, I've got more data points than you. It's like irrelevant, right? Hang on, I'm trying to do something else over here. So being clear on the objectives, putting the people in front of it, being clear on the why, building out a use case, and then focusing on what the benefits of it are, not the thing itself.
Yeah.
It's true as it was when we were using Excel as it is now you're using AI. No different.
I think agencies need to talk more about what their technology does rather than what it is. Clients don't really care what it is. They care what it's going to do for them.
They need to know enough, evidence that it's going to work, and they can see it in the live cases and stuff. I think everyone's sick to death of the videos that may or may not
be real.
Be real.
Absolutely.
The humility to say this is what it can't do is refreshing.
Yeah, it's interesting. The whole agency landscape at the moment seems to be in flux or changing, from the holdcos that are smashing agencies together to the big digital agencies that are now coming up to sort of challenge the holdcos. How do you think the role of agencies is evolving as partners for their clients?
I think it's different for different clients. First of all, I think you need to be clear on what the client wants and needs, because they have different internal capabilities or geographic capabilities, or they might be structured with GEO and SEO in the same team as media or not, or, you know, or creative might be associated with social, or social might sit with PR. So you need to be agile to fit into that as an agency of any size or sort of nature. You really need to stop overreaching and say that you can do absolutely everything, and say definitively what you're expert at and be proud of that. A great client with confidence in an agency will accommodate them as a manager will find a role for a footballer, given that we're here in the World Cup, put them in the team. If they're excellent in what they do, they'll accommodate them in sort of in the team. The thing is, I would say, is agencies need to be really clear. Are they in the business of driving growth through ideas for their clients? Are they a technology, or are they a media owner effectively? And, you know, the conversations about output and outcome and barter and things like that, sometimes it's unclear what role agencies want to perform.
You
know, are they being a media owner? I'm going to broker you some great media space and some eyeballs at a certain price, or I'm here to drive growth through strategic intent. Actually, quite different things. And trying to do both in the same meeting can be confusing.
In pitches, or just generally, procurement are often seen as the villain within the process, or the one that's trying to drive the cost down. How would you advise agencies to get that balance between what the procurement team's looking for and what the marketing team's looking for, that can often seem slightly at odds to each other?
Do what you think is right for their business is the first thing, and what's right for your business. No one forces you to accept something as an agency. Of course, you want to win, but you should have a prioritization system that says, well, which clients do I want to win, and how do I want to be able to use my available scale or negotiation ability or whatever you've got in your arsenal, your deal book, to be able to focus on that. So as long as you're clear on the priorities and what you think is important, any good client or pitch consultant should be telling you what their focus is, their priorities are, or the scorecards and things like that. Any good client, whether procurement or consultant, should give you feedback at every single stage in as much detail as possible, but you make the decision on whether you want to go there or not. Still.
Do you think agencies still try and be something to everybody, rather than being distinctly known for a thing, sticking to that and going for those clients that are going to be most appropriate for them?
I do. As you know, I used to run agencies and stuff, and at the time, you know, the proposition for one of the agencies is we're going to be the most creative and innovative, and we want to work with the most creative and innovative things. We were overtly planning led, despite having an incredible buying offering. And so we were agency of the year for, I think, 6 straight years down here and in, you know, Festival of Media and things like that. And I think that was, you know, part of our reputation. And that was a very conscious sort of decision. Well, this might be about automation. This might be about integration. I don't know. You know, stand for something. Despite everyone getting so big, you still have room to be different from others and better than others. And if you can answer those questions convincingly, how are you different and how are you better, you've got a position. And if you can't answer it, you don't have a position.
No, absolutely.
Same as any client brand.
I think agencies often, one of the biggest conversations we're having with agencies now is how they can find that distinct thing. And I said that thing will show you your behaviors, what you do, what you don't do, what clients you go after, what clients you don't. But I think too many agencies are still flip-flopping around and trying to be something to...
Your positioning should be a sharp-edged tool that weeds things out. It weeds out talent.
It should be polarizing as well.
You know, it weeds out investment. You know, if I'm standing for this, I'm going to invest in this. I believe in it, therefore I'm investing in that. You know, if you're going after a new business client, does this fit my profile for what I'm trying to go to or not? It's a sharp-edged tool that you should put your colours against the mask and, you know, go at.
Absolutely. You can't have a conversation in media right now without talking about AI. And you probably you the fortunate position of seeing AI from client side and from agency side. Do you think they're really understanding the impact or the benefits that it can have for their businesses, or are they just everyone throwing everything at the moment?
Exactly the latter.
Yeah,
It's the noisiest noise. It makes the early days of digital seem
yeah,
mute. But it's a very simple premise, which is what are the objectives that this brand or this consumer needs? Now, what have I got? Whether it's an Excel, whether it's a qualitative group, whether it's AI, whether it's it doesn't
it
really
shouldn't
matter
matter.
what it is,
Yeah,
but it should be garnered or sort of galvanized against a very clear objective. So if the client wants to grow reach and penetration to grow the business, or whether it's efficiency, or whether it's long-term lifetime value, they're all completely different things. You can't just tell me it's the same block of AI, it's going to cost you £1 million. And by the way, I forgot to tell you the tokens are extra. Like,
is that the standard narrative at the moment? Pretty much. Yeah.
Pretty much, I'd say. I think it's the better agencies are being single-minded and organizing it around client needs and the typical use cases that they see, and putting it into commercial structures that are transparent and fair for clients, and believe that that's the model that will win them business and keep them business.
Yeah. It seems that when I used to run pitches, the transformation was the big thing the clients are looking for, and I'm sure they do now. What's the biggest barrier, do you think, for brands when they're asking agencies to help them transform?
One, the role of leadership on the client side.
Yeah.
Are you getting the agency to do it, or are you leading it as an individual?
And they're a facilitator, yeah.
Yeah. Second is alignment, which is if you got your markets, your divisions, your brands, and everyone aligned against the transformation agenda internally, so the agency can play its sort of role. Third, I would probably say, is measure what does transformation mean, what are the priorities, objectives, what are the KPIs for that transformation, so you can do it. And then the other, I strongly believe in culture, the culture of we, and inclusion and integration. You normally need 15 departments or 15 markets to change a light bulb these days. So you better have a culture that's engendered to drive that change.
Yeah, you talk about culture, which is ultimately the people. How important are when a client's choosing an agency? If you had to, percentage-wise, how much does it really come down to the people compared to perceived capability or the technology?
It's fascinating. Google have done some work on this, but business to business purchase decisions are hugely emotional, despite you thinking they're going to be rational.
Yeah.
Every losing agency, whether creative media, has said, "Oh, we were gazumped on price." I've never run a media pitch, the most price sensitive of things, which is at a scoring point of more than 25% on price. No. Never run one. So that tells you that there are capabilities which are human led, which account for the 75%, and the presentation and delivery and the trust in the team is all sort of human led. Now, the interesting thing, some of the groups and some of even the smaller agencies are 10 times bigger than, the agencies that I used to work in. So the access to the senior, brilliant top talent becomes more and more chancy and fragmented.
Yeah.
And agencies have to have that depth of squad. And I think increasingly a sustainable way of growing talent. We've seen pitches where they say, we're not going to give you any junior people. Why is that? Because we're not recruiting any, because it's all AI. So where's the next generation going to come from, you numbnuts? Right? Do you know what I mean? So a commitment to talent, not just technology. The smartest agencies will win over time in that way, because you just can't keep on hiring and poaching people and build a culture.
Yeah, it seems to be a big narrative at the moment about where that, in 5 years' time, where's those entry level people that are going to be your managers and your directors, where are they coming from?
Yeah.
Are you seeing agencies actually really starting to, or clients are starting to not hire people?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're creating organization designs, and we're getting pitched back from agencies, organization designs that have got an org team of 5 faces, and then there's 5 red robots, because that's the agents that put into the org design, either from the agency to the client, or the client, as we're designing out what they expect their agents to do, working alongside tandems or in support of, in support of the talent.
Yeah.
So that's a very real thing. There's a great article I've just seen. This is how, it's a future sort of seer, but they think that IT and HR departments are going to merge, such as going to be the impact of agents. I think that's bollocks, frankly, but it's a good provocation.
Yeah. Have you seen the output of these agents yet? You know, have you? Yeah, I find we use AI all day, every day. I find its output pretty anodyne.
Yeah.
Are you seeing it in pitches or working with clients? Is it?
Yes, a lot. I think, but what they've been done is they've been individual use cases or applications which have done something quite discrete very well.
Very specific and vertical.
What we're now seeing is people building houses of agents or integrated agents.
Right.
So you'll have a tag manager agent, you'll have a compliance agent, you'll have a taxonomy agent, you'll have, 10 different agents, but orchestrated with a human chairman.
Right. Okay.
And that, I think, is the next level that we're beginning to see. Certainly on our own tech stack internally, probably built about 15 different great individual use case agents, but they weren't necessarily talking to one another.
Right. Okay.
So our horizon is to join those together.
Absolutely. We always ask one last question of our guests. You know, you've been in agencies. When did Flock start? 10 years ago?
13.
13 years ago. Wow. Okay. And you've gone from strength to strength. So congratulations. Across your, when we created 300, we somehow ended up with a mascot, and it was a goat and it had wings on it. So don't ask how. So we always like to ask our guests, who has been your goat across your career? That one or two people that have influenced you or guided you or made you into the professional you are today?
It would be incredibly rude and wrong to single any sort of individual out on their own. But from the very get-go, I've been blessed with inspirational bosses and some incredible talent that I've had the privilege of working with.
Yeah.
And finding a great boss to go and work for beyond the company, whether you learn, was always maybe a trick of mine, or maybe I got lucky, I don't know. But I would interview the individual, not the company, as much as anything else. And took some left turns as a result. Things I wanted to learn and from people. So maybe that's even more important than a land of agents and data. I don't know.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, Simon, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And join us again for the next 300 seconds.